Hey guys, welcome back to MMT's YouTube channel. In the previous video, you might have seen the demonstration of COTS on your Windows, right? So in this video, we will see experiments. So before we get into experiments, there are a few prerequisites which you'll have to check. I'll just, tell you what they are. So firstly, you have to come to the configuration on your side panel. Here you have to see if your core is connected by including their IP address, then base station IP address, then mobile phone's IP address. Then you have to save and configure. Now switch to mobiles in the side panel, mobile section. So here you have to check for the status. If the status shows connected, you're good to go. Now come to base station section. Here again you have to check for the status. One way to connect your base station is you'll have to get a Ethernet cable from router will connect. One end of the router will connect to the laptop. So if you do that, you'll have your base station connected. You will get the status online. After this, then you're supposed to check for core status again. It shows online. Then you're good to go. Yeah. Now in the side panel, choose test cases or experiment. This is where you'll find your experiment section. In today's video, we are going to look for the NGAP initial context setup response experiment. You can click on the drop down and select that experiment. Once you select, give view description. So once it loads, you'll have the write up, which is similar to your manual. So here you can see test number, test objective. That means to verify that the gNodeB, that is the base station, which sends NGAP initial context setup response to the AMF, confirming that the UE context has been successfully created and the radio bearers have been configured. So this is today's objective of the experiment. So as you scroll down, you can see the test instruments required. You just have to make sure all the instruments are in front of you and then you're setting it up. Then coming to procedure. So in procedure, the first step is you need to up the core. So once the core is up, then you go to the gNodeB. gNodeB is nothing but your base station. So you up your base station. So after that, then you have already configured your UE, that is your phone. You've already configured that. You just have to go back and check it once if it is, if the status shows connected or not. So yeah, here it shows connected, so you don't have to worry. Come back to experiments. Yeah, and now here you can continue. So in this, what you can see, the fourth step is RRC connection has now been set up. Okay, it has been complete. After this, you can see something called as NAS registration procedure. So that is, as you can see, that is the flow, how it happens. So all you have to keep a watch on is the flow. Now the AMF has sent NGAP initial context setup request to the gNodeB. So this is the procedure of your experiment, today's experiment. And here you can see expected results. So when you know your experiment is complete, is you it will show you, you need to verify and check for core logs, core logs, gNodeB, which sends the setup response on Wireshark, which will help you understand that AMF confirming UE contact setup has taken place. After that, to check and to verify and check Wireshark logs, correct association of AMF UE NGAP ID and the gnode UE NGAP ID. So you have to make sure this is set, and then to check and verify PDU session resource setup response list. So once this is there, and this is the actually the expected results out of this experiment. Then you have something called as test setup architecture. This is the way your the architecture is to understand what is the flow of experiment. And below you find the explanation for the same above setup. So once you have understood all of this, while you're debugging, you can look at the sample logs. In the sample logs, if this part, the initial context setup request, if that has come, if that has appeared on your Wireshark tool, then you know that this experiment is complete. And the explanation for the same has also been given here. So if you take a look at this and read it out, it I think it is quite understandable. It is about the same experiment which you're doing. Now coming to the practical part, take the UE which is connected to the COTS, and you have to enable the flight mode. Once you have enabled the flight mode, you have to come back to the dashboard and then click on SA core section, and here you have to click on the Wireshark live. That is, you have to enable it. So you just have to do start. Once you click on start, wait for 10 seconds. Wireshark will pop up. Now these are core logs, and to search for UE logs or base station logs, you have to use the filter option. So in when you click on filter, yeah, you're supposed to apply a filter option. So when you click on filter, you have to type NGAP, because that is a protocol we are using to communicate to the base station. And if you can see the uh, screen here, you see that whole bar being green. That is because you have entered the correct protocol command. If you click something else apart from NGAP, it will show you red. That means you can't proceed next. So make sure you give the correct command. No caps, no nothing, just NGAP. And once that is done, click next. And now you have to disable the flight mode on the UE. The initial context setup response is a message sent by the gNodeB, that is your base station, to the AMF. So the source column what you're looking at here, in this, the 7.92 is your base station IP address. In destination column, 7.151 is your core IP address. So now the base station has sent a request to the core, say asking for a service request. Now this service is sent to AMF. So 172.22 is your AMF IP address. Now the AMF is asking the base station for a initial context setup request. Okay. Now the base station has responded to the core saying the initial context setup response has been done. Now coming down, you can see the AMF has asked the base station for a PDU session to set up. Now the base station has responded to the core saying the PDU session setup has been responded. After that, the base station is now asking the core for a UE context release request. After that, the base station has responded to the core saying the UE context release has been complete. You can verify this by, looking at the VoLTE symbol and the 5G symbol next to the signal bar on your mobile in the top panel. So once you've rectified that now the UE, the initial setup has been done. Initial context setup response has been done. This by this your practical is over. If I have to tell you in simple terms, the AMF asks the gNodeB, that is your base station, to prepare everything needed for the user to start communicating over the 5G network. Once the base station finishes this setup successfully, it sends back the initial context setup response to confirm that the request sources have been configured. With this, the NGAP initial context setup response experiment has been successfully conducted. And for more such videos, please subscribe to our channel. And for the next experiment, you can refer to the next video in this playlist. Thank you.